If you don't know by now, Donald Trump has won the election. Donald Trump will soon start his second term in the White House as the President of the United States. But what I want to focus on and emphasize is the stock market. Now, no matter who you are, if you are in America, you are aware of what it means to be financially literate and have some financial independence. Now, my favorite is the stock market. I know a lot of people are into real estate. A lot of people are into selling products online. You know, everything is possible through technology. But me specifically, the low entry barrier to the stock market was very enticing to me. And over the years, I practiced. I lost a lot of money. But through me taking losses, my losses were lessons. I learned how I can have a healthy approach to the stock market. I learned that it was not about what I wanted to do, what I needed to do. But what I really realized was when Donald Trump was in office, even though it was a negative impact because it was surprised that he won the first term, the stock market quickly rebounded and it went on to higher highs throughout his term in the office. Now, I want to point that out because Donald Trump recently won the election again for his second term, and the stock market reacted. If I'm not mistaken, over $1.8 trillion was put into the market the day Donald Trump won the election. Now, I want to emphasize why. People may not like Donald Trump for his personality, the way he thinks, his brashness, he's bold, he speaks his mind. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like successful people. A lot of people don't like a lot of things about people. But I oftentimes want to get away from the negativity and focus on the positivities. Donald Trump has been considered a businessman. Whether you agree with that or not, these are the things that drive the stock market when it comes to Donald Trump being in office. Other business people, other like-minded people, or people who simply have money, resources, funds, they see the market as something that's gauged based on the economy. Now, a lot of people say the stock market is rigged. Okay, what if it is? Pay attention to $1.8 trillion being put back into the market as soon as Donald Trump got elected. Now, where would $1.8 million come from? It didn't come out of nowhere. These were people that went cash, meaning flat, meaning they pulled out of the market during the Biden administration, or they pulled out prior to the election to see if either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was going to win. Now, I would argue that if Kamala Harris would have won, $1.8 trillion would not have been placed into market soon as she would have won. I don't know that for a fact, but what I want to emphasize is Donald Trump is a businessman. Throughout his term, Donald Trump cared more about America than he cared about other countries. A lot of former presidents always wanted to have allies, or as some people would say, former presidents will put other countries before the American people. Now, as I stated before, you may not like Donald Trump. I would argue it's always something to like and dislike about every president. Me personally, I don't know Donald Trump, so whatever this man has going on in his mind, he is the United States president, and I have to get behind the United States, and I also want to get behind Donald Trump because as someone who puts finances first, self-improvement, my mindset, my health, my wealth, self-improvement goes hand in hand with finance. I don't care who you are. When you look at the statistics, it is healthy to have your finances in order. I like the idea of Donald Trump being in office over Kamala Harris. But the reason why the market react because of Trump was his policies. Trump is about corporate tax cuts. Trump's administration implemented significant corporate tax cuts in 2017, which led to the surge in the stock market. Now, history always repeats itself. Specifically, if you have the person back in office who've done something in the past, more often than not, what will happen? They will do it again. If it has worked before, the perception of that individual will be it shall work again. The S&P 500 saw substantial gains as companies benefited from lower tax cuts. If a company benefits from lower tax cuts, people who invest in these companies will benefit from the growth of the company based on the policies. It just so happened that it was the Trump's administration and Trump's policies. He's a business savvy guy. Business in America means economic growth in America. No matter what side you're on, you can always position yourself to take advantage because you are in America. That's something that I want to take full advantage of. Trump policies also include deregulation. Trump's deregulatory policies were also seen as positive by the market, leading to increased investor confidence and higher stock prices. Now, this is solely based on 2017, but as I stated before, where does $1.8 trillion come from as soon as Trump is elected in the office? This means that people were aware, even though stock market is speculation, investing, trading, etc., People were aware of the benefit that Trump had on the market during his term. So once he was elected again, what are people thinking alongside Trump? If Trump is going back in to do what he's done before and it worked, people are anticipating and expecting him to repeat what he's done, and it more often than not work in the same favor. So that's how you get $1.8 trillion put back into the market the day Donald Trump wins the election. The stock chart shows, you can see right here, the market went up for about 3 days, just a surge in buying power. That is what $1.8 trillion looks like on a day-to-day basis in the S&P 500. In 2017, if what Donald Trump did, deregulatory policies, increased investors to get back into the market, then this is the same thing that's going to happen while Trump is in office now, potentially. This is why the day he was elected, we saw a lot of buying power going in, a lot of buying pressure. Now, what else I want to point out is, in 2016, the stock market initially reacted negatively to Trump's unexpected victory, but quickly rebounded as investors anticipated pro-business policies. 2024, following Trump's re-election in 2024, the stock market again hit record highs driven by expectations of continued tax cuts and deregulation. I wanted to say that because I'm emphasizing on people are expecting something to repeat. So when you have Kamala Harris, who's putting out and explaining what she intends to do when she gets into the office, people automatically are comparing her being on the side of Joe Biden and also comparing what Joe Biden has done versus Trump. Now, everybody is not financially literate, or they're not enthused about finance. People are caring more about how they're treated. People are caring more about equality. And I'm not knocking any of that, because as humans, we are all persuaded or encouraged to do what's best for us based on our situation. Me personally, right now, I believe I'm in a good spot in my life. I don't think that something is out of reach within whatever it is that I want because of inequality. Like, I know I will have barriers to cross, to break through. I know it will be some type of resistance based on demographic, geographic, based on what people think, because we live in a society, people have opinions. But people also are going to judge based on what someone done before and compare it to what someone has not done. We have not seen Kamala Harris or the Joe Biden administration do something similar to what Trump has. Although Trump has policies outside of just financial and business benefits, such as school education, children, he wants to do a lot of things as far as people changing their gender, their sex, etc. I won't get into all that. We're speaking solely on finance, because outside of self-improvement, mindset, motivation to have a better life, I'm all about the money. People are automatically going to go for what they already experienced, that maybe in the beginning, the market reacted negative to his election. They saw that it was beneficial and they realized it wasn't so bad, and the grass is not always green on the other side via Biden administration. So people are going to always gravitate to what works and what's more safe, the safer route. Some people say you're picking the lesser evil. Whatever it is to you, this is from the root cause of someone experiencing something that was beneficial, and they're going out of their way to make sure, at least, at worst, we get what we've got before. Donald Trump, 2016, 2017 election, his first run in the White House. People want to get back to that state, at least attempt to get back to that, and they're getting behind Donald Trump. I want to talk about the long-term impact, because this is essential when it comes to investors, business, small businesses, entrepreneurs, tax cuts, everything, real estate, everything. It's all in one when it comes to Donald Trump being in office. Trump is often considered the most pro-stock market president in history, with his policies generally favored corporate growth and profitability. Now, if we have corporate growth, Jeff Bezos, I always bring up the billionaires because they often are discriminated or are looked down upon because they have so much wealth. But if you ever did any research when it comes to Bezos talked about how he's worth billions of dollars, but he always emphasized, even though the company he started, Amazon, is worth billions of dollars and he generated a lot of money, because he only owns, at the time when I read this, 51% of the company, the other 49 was spread out through investors. He also gave other people the opportunity to build wealth. So when it comes to Trump being in office and companies are benefit from economic growth, people who have the resources to invest in these companies also benefit from the profit. You may not make billions of dollars. That only depends on how much money you actually invest. But even if you only invested $10,000 8 years ago, if you were still holding today, investing, you would see gain on your money. And also, Kamala Harris, just to compare the candidates, she wanted to tax capital gains, which if you don't know what capital gains is, it's profit or gains made through the market, capital. Trump is not with taxing capital gains. And from what I can remember, I think Kamala wanted to tax something like 50% because that was her way to, get rid of inflation, or that was her way to ensure that our economy thrives. She wanted to tax the rich. Now, Donald Trump is not opposed to taxing the rich, but Donald Trump does not believe that that's the go-to way to do things. Donald Trump is all about economic growth, business, education, and making sure America is sustained and thriving, making sure America is successful. He believes if America is successful, he is a successful president. Now, there's going to be a lot of things he's going to do. There's going to be a lot of things people are not going to be advocate of. They're not going to get behind that. They don't see it as beneficial. But like I say, this is a comparing thing. We don't know what Kamala Harris would do. We can only go based on who she's with, who we can tie her with, which is Biden. A lot of people don't like the Biden administration. A lot of people don't even care about the Biden administration. They just didn't want to see Trump win, which people got the right to do whatever they do. We're not here to judge people on who they chose. We're just here to state the facts. Donald Trump is in the office. This is what we can expect, and the stock market is showing it because the economy is the United States. Despite the positive market performance, some economists warn that Trump's fiscal policies could lead to long-term economic challenges, including high private debt and potential market bubbles. Now, as far as high private debt and market bubbles, like I always said, in the history of the president, in the history of our presidents, Donald Trump is the only one who have had this much of an impact on the stock market. If there is a market bubble while he's in office, let's just point out, it will not be the first market bubble. You have the dot-com bubble, you have the 2008 crash, you have a lot of bubbles that have happened. They may be referred to with different titles throughout history, but we have had multiple bubbles. So I'm not trying to put that to the side as if it's not important, but I don't want us to, or me personally, I don't want to emphasize that as if Donald Trump in office and we experience a bubble, it's solely because of him, or he's the only president that have been in office when this happened. Because even though he is our president, it's only so much he can do. I believe he was on an interview with Dave Ramsey or whoever he was with, but I remember him specifically saying inflation is something he may not can stop, but he can do a lot of other things. He can control a lot of other things, but inflation, once it got away from us, it's gone. It's only so much we can do. And a lot of people will emphasize, if you want to beat inflation, you have to make more money. You have to make more money, and then you have to make money work for you to make even more money. This is why I'm always talking about working 2 jobs. A lot of people think, oh, you telling people to work 2 jobs and invest and they're going to get rich. It's not about getting rich. If you make $30,000 right now, your goal should try to get to 90 or 120. Because even if you're not millionaire rich, 120 versus 30,000, so long as you stay in your budget or you don't live above your means, you live below your means, you are $90,000 richer if you get to 120. If you get to 90,000, you are now $60,000 richer. If you where you're at right now struggling and you go from 60, if you go from 30,000 to 90,000 or 120,000 while living where you're at right now, this should give you some type of cushion. And I will argue once you see this gain, this profit, you will then want to continue to go down that path. So then now what do? You try to make money work for you more. So you don't change your lifestyle. You put that extra 60,000 or 90,000 back into the market, especially while Donald Trump's in office, and you try to let that propel to even more growth. Because no matter what, as long as you're richer than you are before, you can consider yourself richer. All in all, when it comes to the stock market and Donald Trump brings investor sentiment. He brings higher potential to make gains. He brings higher potential to build wealth. He brings higher potential to have America economy thriving. And when we have a successful economy, we have a successful country. Now, there's going to be a little bit of optimism and caution. While many investors remain optimistic about the stock market under Trump's administration, there are also concerns about potential inflation and trade tensions. As I stated before, the inflation may not go anywhere, but we know Donald Trump is known for some trade tensions. But we've also seen where he also comes out on top majority of the time, because this is where his business savviness comes in. Whether you want to agree with it or not, the results are showing that he's getting things done. You can go back and you can say that it's because of his father or his family or whatever the case may be. But while he's in office, more often than not, he's getting things done. Like I said before, this is comparison and contrast. Let's put things into perspective. When have we ever seen Biden do a trade tension and win, or the administration successfully win over periods of time, consistently going against the grain, winning battles, putting America first versus other countries? Not necessarily building enemies, but letting people know that we're going to put our country first before we put anybody else, because other countries are always putting themselves first, even while they're doing business with America. So essentially, let's bring it back to the stock market and stick to the stock market. Our economy is going to thrive because that is what Donald Trump does. That's what he stands for. Outside of education, the benefit of our children and our families in America, he's a money guy. I'm a money guy. I'm not a billionaire, but you don't have to be rich to be a money guy. If you ever been broke, you understand a few dollars in your pocket is better than no dollars in your pocket. So money is essential. Money is key. We're not selling our souls for money. We buy into the life of our future, which is going to need money. Reality is free. Fantasies cost. Let's not put fantasies out there to put us in even more debt than we should be in, or should not even be in the first place, because we're too busy worrying about something that we can't control, or somebody's personality, right? Donald Trump get things done. Let's focus on what's in front of us. This is where we are now. If you refuse to pay attention because you're too involved with your debt benefit, or your debt that's embedded to your emotional gain, then that's on you. When the consequences surface, you have to deal with it. But as far as what I'm seeing or what I know, Donald Trump is in office. The stock market responded because the stock market is used to someone like Donald Trump coming in and putting companies' economic growth first. And when you have economic growth, when you have companies that are growing, you have more potential for Americans and people outside of the country even to participate and speculate in the market and build some type of wealth, or at least have some type of capital gains that can then yield them into a better life, which you can put the money back into education, lifestyle, healthcare, etc. It's all a cycle. I don't want anybody to see this as me saying, oh yeah, Donald Trump, forget everybody else who didn't. No. This is who we got. If it was Kamala Harris, we would have been talking about Kamala Harris and how the economy is going to react to Kamala Harris. But we're talking about Donald Trump. I'm a stock market guy. We got Trump in office. Let's just see how this go. But like any situation in life, what do I always say? Are you prepared for any outcome? You should put money first with or without Donald Trump being in office. You should put money first with or without Kamala Harris being in office. You should put money first with or without people around you telling you to. This is something where you realize at a certain age, and then you do everything to stay focused on whatever it is that you need to do to put yourself in a position, because nobody's going to do it for you. We can walk down the path with people next to us. People can't walk that path for us. We can go to the same destination. Everybody might take a different path to get there. So long as you get there, that should be your primary focus. Put your money first. Put your health first. It go hand in hand. Health is wealth. Do it together, not one before the other. But if you're going to choose one, obviously put your health first, because what's the point of having all the wealth if you're going to be unhealthy and pass away?